Thanks for tuning in to the Golden Empire podcast. Make sure to subscribe.
All right, here we go. Episode number 6. We got Jairo in studio today. How you doing, Jairo?
Doing good. It's great to be here. Nervous, but great.
What are you nervous about, man? We're just talking.
Someone don't suck on YouTube, man.
You can't do worse than Ruben.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Oh, you know what? Ruben went up there. He did it. They did good.
Yeah.
I could do it too.
That's what I'm saying. You could do it. If you could do it, you could do it too. So I know Jairo from Coca-Cola when I used to work there, and I was working with VEB, and at the time you were in charge of all the point of sale, and that's how we met. So let's just go back. You know, how long were you at Coca-Cola?
So I was at Coca-Cola a grand total of 13 years.
What were you doing before Coke?
Before Coke, I was at Smart and Final for about 3 years. Because I started there when I was 16, and I left when I was 19 and some change. So just my whole time working has just been in retail grocery business. So
And you're in the military too, right? So what division of the military are you in?
I'm in the Army. Yeah, right now I'm on active duty orders. I'm an Army. I'm a 60 Whiskey as a medic. So, but my job day to day is just medical readiness. So it's pure admin stuff. I work with the HR wing of it. So it's very different from going from merchandising, active, doing all this stuff, being like an ambassador for the brand, to all day looking at medical documents and pushing stuff forward. It's like, wow.
How old or when did you enlist? How old were you when you started?
So I actually joined kind of late. I was 23.
Okay, so you already had a Smart and Final.
Yeah, I was already at Smart and Final. It was actually during the middle of going into my third year at Coke, because I got hired in October. So right after my my third anniversary, I decided it was just a bunch of different stuff going on. I was pulling double duty. I was working night shift at a Vons that I serviced because I got to be real good friends with the grocery manager, and he needed people for the holidays. So he's like, "Hey, you used to work at a grocery store?" I was like, "Yeah." So, "You know anybody that wants to work?" And I was like, "No, not up here," because I lived in Long Beach at the time, and we were Culver City. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." He was like, "For real?" I was like, do you think the manager, Dave, a guy called Dave Rubio, think he'd hire me? He's like, "Yeah, he loves you, dude." Okay, cool. So we talked to him, and yeah, I was doing both. I'd go in at midnight and do whatever grocery stuff we needed, different aisles that we switch off on. And then 5 o'clock, I'd take off my regular shirt and I'd put on my Coke shirt and start merchandising. I would spend the majority of my day at that store.
So you just go from that store to that store, just merchandising different stuff?
Yeah, so I they would try to keep me in the water aisle. So I'd do the juice and the water and then help out with half of another aisle. And then I just go back and start merching the Coke. But that store used to take me around 3 hours a day, and then I'd go to my other stops and I'd have to come back at the end of my day.
Well, before we go into all the Coke, what were you doing at Smart and Final?
Smart and Final, I mean, I did a little bit of everything. I ended up as a they call it part-time manager, so it's like right before you try to become full-timer. It was just hard to pick up. But at 16, I started just getting carts, cleaning the bathrooms, stocking the eggs and bananas, just little stuff like that, helping people bag. And then just moved up from one thing to the other, kind of quick. I think that was the problem. I moved up too quick, just because I was kind of ambitious. And when I first got hired, I was going to homeschool. So, when you're in high school, you're not supposed to work more than like 16 hours a week. I was working all the time doing different stuff. I mean, I was 16 and I'm the cashier just because I thought it was cool, but it was helping my boss save money. So he'd just log in on his account and I'd start bagging people. It's funny because like the loss prevention people would be like, don't worry about him. Just they go off to do some other stuff. I'm like, oh.
Well, I mean, like I was helping run a few supermarkets for a while.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine owns a few markets, and I think everybody kind of starts there when you first start in that side of it. The retail side is like bagging, cart, go getting the shopping carts, bringing those back, all that stuff. But I think it's good. Like I think it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
And it's really good to start on the retail side too, because when we're starting doing distribution and sales, like it's good to understand, how the retailer thinks.
Yeah, so I mean, like, a lot of the stuff that you pick up there, I mean, if you pay attention, it'll come. But, like, as you're moving up, the stuff that I learned there still serves me to this day with certain things, just like what's a loss leader, how to shop, what to look for, the different things that the stores do and why they do it. So I'm like, oh, I'll stay away from this or I'll go do that. So
Traffic flow, right?
yeah, all that stuff. That
How
helps
much
you out.
each department's looking to make,
Mhm.
why we should take items off, bring new items in. Yeah, I learned all that stuff too on the retail side. So when I go into these markets, like like when I'm talking to a buyer, I understand what he's looking for
Yeah.
or what he's thinking. You know, based upon margin, what we should bring in, you know, the time limit when we should take something out. And a lot of times I'll be able to point out stuff too, like, hey, you don't have this category, just because I've been working with markets and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and working it from the other side, looking at the numbers and seeing, you know, what categories are growing and all that stuff.
Even moving from place to place, because I remember I would work from. I started off in Long Beach. That's actually kind of sad. Like I don't know how well you know Long Beach, but do you know where the traffic circle is?
Yeah, that little roundabout.
Yes. So right when you go down that roundabout, and if you keep going on PCH, there's like a Carl's Jr. and then there's like a little empty lot now. And that used to be Smart and Final 301. That was the one where I first started. So I spent the majority of my time there, and then I would go help out every now and then at a couple of different stores when I needed help. And you would learn just the different demographics. Like, oh, but now I'm in Lakewood, but it's the part of Lakewood that's closer to Bellflower, so it's not going to be as fancy as the one here in actual the good part of Lakewood by Lakewood High, that you can see the different things. And you're like, oh, we don't have this in my store. Oh yeah, it's because we have the clientele for that here. I'm like, oh, like, yeah, that makes sense. But you know, going from just bagging and stocking the same stuff that everyone else has, the eggs, milk, bread, eggs, all those things, to like, oh, they sell a lot of panko here. I'm like, what's panko? Oh, it's like Japanese stuff, breadcrumbs, and oh, we had these things all over the clip strips.
Have you been inside a Smart and Final lately?
It's actually not that often that I go, to be honest with you.
Well, I was just gonna ask you, have you noticed the changes from because what it was when you were working there to like
Yeah, no,
some of the
it's-
stuff
it's-
that's now?
Yeah, it's a huge change. I mean, I still used to talk to a couple of people from there. I mean, my dad still works there,
Right.
but I don't talk to him as much either. And even he told me like it was a bunch of big changes. But I think that happened around 4 or 5 years ago. They started coming up with the Smart and Final Extra concept, and I think it was.
What's the difference between like a regular and an extra?
So a regular Smart and Final it's gonna be. You're not gonna have that many small items. They're gonna have the same everyday stuff, but they're gonna have a lot of bulk offerings that you're gonna go in, you're gonna buy. You're gonna have like more tin cans. You know what tin cans are, like the 10-inch cans of like peaches and baked beans and stuff like that. That's where you would go, like if you're gonna have a party or an outing or something like that. You're gonna have a lot more of the industrial sized food containers and janitorial supplies. Whereas the Smart and Final Extra, you're still gonna have some of those things, but you're gonna have more like a grocery store feel. It's gonna feel like more of a Ralph's. It's gonna have like more produce options that you can
produce.
get by the pound. At a regular Smart and Final, it's just you're gonna get 3 lettuce heads. You can't just buy one; it's a pack of 3, and so on and so forth. And there's a lot more focus on ENS or equipment and supplies, because if you're a restaurant and you can't make it to Jetro or grocery outlet or something, I'm gonna go on and need to buy a fryer or a frying pan or something, and I'm gonna go buy it right here because I'm in a pinch.
Yeah, we just met with the buyer, one of the buyers, not too long ago, and walking into some of them, like they have kombuchas now,
Mhm.
they have your cold pressed juices, so they're starting to expand to some of these new items now. Before I never used to see all that, but now I'm starting to see all that.
Yeah, I think it was the old president. It was someone from Ralph's that came over and started helping them out, and that's when they started expanding more into these things. So, I think it's been working out for them. As they're growing, they're bringing in more.
Well, you have to
More
adapt,
things.
and
Yeah.
that's I don't know the numbers, but I'm seeing it, so I'm sure they're adding categories and changing
Yeah.
some stuff. When did you start at Coca-Cola? What were you doing when you first started there?
So, like most people, I started October 5 of 2005. That's what I remember, 10/05/05. And I started off just like the majority of people merchandising. But that's the craziest part of my time at Coke, is that I was at Carson, at the Smart and Final in Carson. I hated Coca-Cola with a passion. Like, when you run into those managers or those receivers that are just a pain to deal with, I was that guy.
Yeah.
And I was like that because my manager at the time, he was like that, and I never got why. But I remember one time, this merchandiser was like, "Hey, look, I gotta go. Something's going on." You know, I'm busy. I'm running the front. I'm the only guy there, and I've got a bunch of other stuff to deal with. I'm like, well, did you finish your work? No, but there's some other guy that's gonna come, and I
You
was
were
busy.
that manager.
So that's what broke me. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I sign him out, and no one comes, and I just totally forget about it. The thing then is I used to be a super time Nazi. I would show up to work an hour early and just hang around the parking lot, go eat lunch, whatever. But I actually went into the office an hour early the next day, plugged in my phone, and my boss comes up to me and is like, hey, did you see the Coke guy yesterday? I was like, yeah. Did you sign him out? Yeah. Did he finish? No, he didn't, but he said, no. Did he finish? No. You thought that was okay? You know, he gave me one of those, like...
Well, here's a big reason why we're doing this, because a lot of companies we work with are
Yeah.
startups. They don't understand all this. They don't understand the importance of merchandising.
Yes.
So, from your perspective on the retail side, how important is the merchandising? And what did it mean if it wasn't properly merchandised?
Well, I mean, sometimes it's not even a matter of... Yeah, it is important if it's properly merchandised, but if it's even merchandised at all. Because, I mean, that's shelf space that you're not using, and it's empty, and it looks bad. And on top of that, soda along with beverages like beer are the loss leaders. Someone's going to come in because we have a sale on two $2.49 12 packs, and there's none that are out. And, like some customers are too shy to ask. That's still a thing that happens. They're just going to leave. They're going to be pissed off, and they're not going to want to come back.
So explain what's a loss leader for those that don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We know it.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of stuff like that. Like, you're telling me,
Right.
and I'm like, I know what you're saying.
Right.
But what about everybody else? A lot of people are new to this industry.
Mm-hmm.
They're very creative. They created some, amazing products, but they're new to this.
Right.
And the reason it's because you have the Smarter Finals experience.
So a loss leader they're items that the grocery stores themselves or the people that are selling don't make actual money off of. A lot of times they can lose money off of them, but they're items that you are going to go into the grocery store specifically for. But while you're there, you're going to shop around because maybe they might have a nice display up front, but it's going to be some core flavors or something. You're going to have to go to the shelf or somewhere else to get some other stuff that you want or the different flavors that you want. And that's when you're going to stop by an end cap. That's why they have end caps. Oh, we're here. We're getting soda. We might as well get some chips. We might as well get some cups. Oh, let's get some Jack Daniels while we're at it. And you have all these things. And that's why they pair things together. And I would hear it when I was at the cashier. Some guy comes up and he's kind of like, what's going on? You guys got me. Oh, I came in here for 2 12 packs and I'm buying a cart full of stuff that I wasn't planning on. And, and an initial trip to the store that was going to cost them $9 just turned into 90, and you're like,
and that's what's important when you're in a retail. You want your ring to be higher. The higher the ring, the better. So that's kind of like, how do we increase sales? Like, okay, how do we get more people to buy more stuff into our basket? Now, on the other side with the loss leader, it's like, why would anyone do that, right? You think, like, why would people lose money? Like, I'm pretty sure it was co-op, between, Smart Final and Coke, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But why would Coca-Cola do it? Like, we all know why Smart Final do it, because they want to bring in more people. A lot of, like, Coke, some of the big items, they bring in people, like, oh, I got to go get my Coke there. It's way cheaper. So why would Coca-Cola do it?
Well, Coca-Cola itself doesn't necessarily lose money on it because you're right. Like the prices are set throughout the weeks. They have their I forgot what they're called, but they're our version of the buyers or their version of the buyers that have a 52-week set of pricing, and they're gonna go talk with corporate and they, sprinkle that throughout the year. Like everyone's gonna have like some pricing reserved for like the 4th of July, Memorial Day, Christmas and New Year's, Thanksgiving. Those are the big ones, and then every now and then you're gonna have something that goes on. But that's what you have in your bank, and then you go from there. So it's not necessarily that Coke's losing money; they already are allocating that budget. But it's actually very rare for Coke to lose it because they get it in so many other different places.
Yeah, and
So
I'm
many
sure
different
like I said, they're getting a kickback or they're co-opted, so they're not losing; they're just making smaller margin on it.
Yeah, and
but it draws volume.
Yeah, it's by volume.
And which volume leads to more people having it in their house, so more people get to try it. And for someone like Smarter Final, it brings more shoppers in.
Right, and the way that they do it, it's crazy because there's so many tools that are available for them and how you sell it to them. Like, for Smarter Final, because it's not just you at the table. A lot of times it'll be you and it'll be like Pepsi. And the only reason I know is because one of my old bosses they were a buyer, and I would go with them to meetings every now and then. Sometimes they would just explain to me the way that it went. But it's like, hey, you know what? Week, 60 whatever, it's during the summer or during the spring, about to get into the summer. If we'll give you this for this price, and we'll help you by paying for part of the ad. We'll pay for part of the advertisement, the printout and the digital, if you have us right up front. And that's how they mitigate the losses, because they want that volume to go in. So for Cat 1, like grocery stores and stuff like that, yeah, it's nothing but volume.
Yeah, it's
But
all,
that's what
I mean,
gets the
at the
brand
end of the day,
going
it's
and
all
people
volume driven, really. So more people you could get on your hands, more people exposure, eventually some more sales, more people trying it.
But even then, I mean, you have a lot of the volume, but then it all gets mixed in with like the coolers, stuff like this, because that's more than anything. You talked about things being merchandised. Well, first of all, they just have to be merchandised, but then getting merchandised right. That was the biggest thing. I'm pretty sure guys like Ruben and everyone else will tell you the coolers, number one thing, because when I actually looked at the numbers, I was like, wow, I thought you guys were always messing around. No, one case of 20 ounce or something like that will get more profit for Coke and the store itself than a whole pallet of 12 packs of 2 liters. I was like, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
you guys
and
are-
even when they do these sales, they'll put on all the other flavors too to get people to like, okay, I gotta pick up the Fanta and Orange or the new Cherry Coke or whatever. At the time, it's like, okay, this is what we're launching, or we need to increase sales on these flavors. So I'm sure it drives volume on all that stuff too. When you were doing Smarter Final and the merchandising and all that stuff, you ever get people coming up complaining about like, hey, why don't you have this on the shelf, like a particular flavor or anything like that?
Well, yeah. So I would get some of that when I was at Smarter Final, but it was different because I didn't know at the time, because it was, well, that's the soda guys. We don't stock it at all. It's just so much space that we're not gonna have it, because Old Smarter Final, it's only gonna have so many flavors. It's gonna have a big space for them, but not that many flavors. Well, it's a Smarter Final Extra, then they're gonna have more flavors and stuff like that to choose from. But when I was a merchandiser, certain places you would get like, hey, how come we don't have this? How come we don't have that? And then you'd explain to the customer, and that was part of my rating that actually did care about brand ambassador, because I would educate the customers. Well, why don't you have vanilla Coke anymore? Well, it got discontinued because it didn't do that well. Oh, but we like it. Well, it might come back, and it did. And I told people, complain. Call the 1-800 number and complain. I'm not saying it's because of me, but more people did it, and that's what happened. Or, hey, how come we don't have Tab over here? Well, it's because we're in South Los Angeles. It's not going to sell well here. So I mean, we could probably special order it for you, talk to the manager, see if we can get it for you, but it's not going to do well. Oh, okay, thank you. And how come you don't carry more of the Mexican Coke? Well, it's because they won't allow the license here. This store doesn't have the contract for it, and that's why. But we could always try later, or this is another substitute, stuff like that. And just educating the customers. But it wouldn't be bad. I tried to help them out and give them something.
Yeah, and going back to something you said, working with like CVS, Rite Aids, and all these different ones. If you walk into any of these, like at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there's all sorts of holes, and it's not one. It's like you could go to any chain, because these guys are so busy filling like their own products that they don't get to the coolers a lot of times, right? So if you don't have a merchandiser there properly filling or at all, like everybody's losing money because they're not going to touch it. They're not going to have the time for it. So I know when I was merchandising, or even as a customer now, if I walk into a store, like their mindset is like, well, the merchandiser has to do it. That's not my responsibility. I got to take care of the rest of the store. And then it's not because they don't want to. It's just that's just the way they're used to. And I think that's why the merchandising is so important. It's like, when I was a merchandiser at Coke, if I didn't show up at fill it, I mean, everybody was losing money.
Yeah, and I mean, that's actually one of the things that that I kind of did to just to kind of be cool and get some brownie points. When I was pulling double duty at that Vons, I would actually fill the coolers, because it was a huge store. It was very busy, and the coolers were always empty. So when I was filling my coolers, and I'll probably get in trouble for this one day, but I would also carry like a brand of the generic water and fill theirs at the same time, because Vons, you have the Coke mixed in with some of the store stuff, and then I just max it out. And the manager was like, hey, have you been doing it? And I was like, yeah. And I was wondering, because I saw a huge spike in the profit for these things. I was like, yeah, because they were always empty. I fill my 20 ounce But the water and the orange juice was never filled, so I just did it for you while I was at it. It was like, oh, cool, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was doing Walmarts, when I was merchandising that Coke, I mean, I was filling more of the coolers than anything else. I was filling like at least a pallet of just 20 ounces every day I would go in there.
Yeah, I mean, some places are ridiculous, and it really brings attention to it because it's space that one you're competing against with everyone else, because that's a selling point for you if you're a rival company. Hey, Coke hasn't filled it. I brought it to your attention 3 times. Let me take it. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I have noticed I haven't filled it, so you're potentially setting yourself to get in trouble for that. But people will tell you, hey man, like, what's going on? Why aren't you filling them? Is it not getting ordered? And then it's kind of embarrassing when managers would call you out on that. I'll get to it right now. Then you do the walk of shame, going to the back and everything else. But no, it's very important for each store to have their thing. Like clearly a Ralph's is going to have maybe 2 or 3, but places like Walmart's where they have them all over the place, sprinkled, and they actually sell.
Yeah, it sounds like
It's
crazy.
super important for them. Although I don't think every manager is like that. Definitely have some managers that are more focused on the gross profit that the store does, and then other guys are like, just get the sales going. I don't care if I have a loss on it. I just want that sale. And it really depends what kind of stores there is, because some stores are set up to lose. They're going to lose money, but as long as the sales are there, they're fine. Either because they're like next to a Target or they're next to another store. But as long as we're getting more sales than them, we'll eventually drive them out, or cause that's just what happens.
I've seen actually. I was working in the San Fernando Valley, and there was a CVS, and across the street there was another CVS. They were literally across the street from each other. But the way I look at it is they did it so Walgreens or Longs or Rite Aid didn't come in. They're like, we're gonna lose more business if another business comes in than us splitting our own business. So, people coming this way, they're going to come to this one. People going the other way, are going to go to the other one. When you were working with Coca-Cola, what else were you doing there? How long did you merchandise?
Oh, well, which time? So, like, the first time I merchandised for over a year, but it was a little bit different because at the time in Los Angeles, I got hired in Los Angeles first.
Out of the ship?
Yeah, we were sales merch. So I merchandised from October to maybe around June, but from January to March, from October to March I started running a sales route, but I was just a merchandiser running the sales route. So I'd receive the load, I'd merch it myself. I had like 2 merchandisers that I would sort of manage because we didn't have merch soups or merch managers, and that's just how I did it. Eventually I got the route, and it was business as usual, but I got paid off of every case, so you were just always going back. I mean, sometimes you'd clock out and just keep merchandising because it was more money for you. I get rid of these 3 pallets, there's $15 in my pocket at the end of next week when we get paid our commission. After that, I went back to just merchandising because they eliminated those positions and brought in the type of sales they have now. I merged for another year, and then that's when I joined the Army. I went to boot camp, went to my school, then came back. Merchandised for, I want to say, another year, and then I got promoted to sales. From LA, went to Carson, and I was doing Cat 2, so liquor stores, car washes, gas stations, smaller markets, stuff like that. From there, I spent 10 months doing that, and then I deployed. And then I came back to sales, but that didn't work out so well for me for a bunch of different reasons. And I stepped down. That's when I went to Carson. So out of the 13 years I was there, because I would still volunteer to merchandise on the weekends sometimes. And then my last year at Coke, I was going to school full time, so I merched part time. Probably 8 of the 13 years I was doing merchandising.
So when I was a merchandiser, I was young and I was like super competitive. So I was always trying to take everybody's space and like move shit over when they weren't there, like the Pepsi guy, 7-Up guy. Were you the same way? Like,
right. Well, I mean, yeah. When I first started, again, I came into this like I just need a job because I had my son. And that was my second. I was like, oh man, this Smart and Vinyl thing ain't cutting it because I couldn't get promoted. So I got hired with Coke, and I was like, let's make the best of it. Because again, I didn't really care for Coke, but I later found out, well, the guys in Carson do things a certain way. the guys in Downey, the guys in LA do things a certain way. But I actually dug how they did it in LA. It was hard work. You went in, you did it. As long as you did your work, no one messed with you. Cool. So yeah, like we'd always beef it with the Pepsi guys. There was a couple of people that like, I see them now every now and then, like, or I hear about them, like, oh, I remember that guy. But back then I was like, F that guy. He comes in here, he's talking shit, or he messed up our stuff, and you'd go into your area and you'd find like someone had like kind of messed with your 12 packs and they were leaking everywhere, and you're like, oh, it had to be the Pepsi guy. I'm going to do that.
It was the 7-Up guy, right?
It was never the 7-Up guy.
The 7-Up guy was in and out.
No,
5
he
minutes in
never
the
did
store.
anything. I mean, I started off in, even though I worked for LA, I started off in Marina Del Rey.
Mm-hmm.
So from downtown Long Beach to Marina Del Rey, that was my area. And we had this big Albertsons off of Lincoln as soon as you get off the 90 freeway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally just like 3 pallets or 4 pallets high, 4 rows deep. That's the space for everyone, including 7-Up. But they had all that product and they never merched it. But sometimes you get a merchandiser and you'd go in and he'd see the 7-Up merchandiser. He'd see all that, just walk out. The store's ripped.
They didn't care. Huh?
Mama.
I don't know back then.
To them. Nothing would happen to them.
Because
I'd be
they
like,
sell like
yeah, they can get away with like 2-3 days without merchandising.
you can't even be late at Coke.
Yeah,
They're
Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi. That was the ratio. Like Pepsi, you might be able to get away with it depending where you were
They could be late
for a day. You could not get away with just facing anything at Coke because it would be empty.
It would be
Depending where you were, and you'd be like, God dang it. So that was the only bad part. But yeah, back when I first started, we used to be super competitive, but because we were sales merch, and I mean, like it's not like the merchandisers got a cut out of it, but it was like a pride thing because the salesmen back then. I mean, it's I'm not gonna say it's different generationally, but I mean these were just hustlers, man. Like they're gonna go in, they know what to sell, they know what to say to the store manager, the receiver, whoever's really in charge, and then they just would do it. And you know, you'd be in there at 4 a.m, 3:30, 4 in the afternoon, 5, 8. I mean, my longest day back then was from 3 a.m. till I think 7 p.m, just out there, picking up late loads and everything because we had to. But yeah,
I think.
But we enjoyed it though.
I enjoyed it at the beginning. You know, you're
Mm-hmm.
young, you just want to work hard and make that money to just, buy a car or whatever, right? And I feel like at Coke, it's the merchandising is the hardest physical job. I don't know because I haven't done. I mean, but that's the way I felt when I was there. And I also felt like you got blamed for everything when it didn't go right at the stores, like. Because you're in there more than the salesman a lot of times. The salesman in there, once or twice a week or whatever, depending on, and you're in there at least 5 days a week, right?
Yeah.
And so I felt like a lot of times I was getting blamed for a lot of stuff, and it's like.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely a lot rested on you, and but that was the brilliant part about being a salesman and just being a little bit more seasoned and older. Because I mean, I went into this and I was even 21 yet. I was 20. I was ambitious. I was doing all this stuff, and you had older guys who would, they weren't. I can't knock on them too much. They were like taking care of themselves, and they'd tell you stuff to pump you up, and they kind of like, hey man, we're disappointed. We thought you would be able to merch the store faster, and then you'd get mad and start going better the next day. And yeah, sometimes you would mess something up or something looked bad, and like you'd get blamed for it. A perfect example. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but it actually happened to me a couple of times. I would merchandise a store. In this particular case, it was a Vons. Or, no, I'm sorry, it was that same Pavilions I was working at. I literally merchandised the whole store, packed it and everything. I move on to my next stop, which was a Ralph's, and the salesman calls me. He's like, hey, man, like, what the hell? What, did you just need to leave, or what's going on? I'm like, no, like, I merch the store. What the hell are you talking about? Like, are you at the right store, first of all? Because he's telling me, like, the whole, like, bottom, like, the core of the bottom of the 12 packs is gone. Like, Classic, Zero, Diet, all this. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I feel it. It's like, dude, you need to get back over here right now. I was like, are you seriously talking to me this way? Like, for reals? Because, you were kind of buddies with your salesman if you had a good team. It's like, nah, dude, I'm not even playing. Like, for reals, it's kind of recent. So I went back there and I was like, what the hell happened? So then we go to the back and I'm like, I'm kind of confused. But they had, I don't know if you remember, the .com push, like a lot of Pavilions and Albertsons, they used to have the .com trucks for shopping online. I guess someone had a big order, and they literally had a pallet. The .com people had a pallet of mixed stuff from the shelf that they took, and I'm like, well, that's ruining it. So it was like miscommunication. He apologized, like, well, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to merch it again. I'm like,
Well, let's talk about stuff like that. So one time I was at a Vons, and it's a double-sided Vons, and there's like all these 2 liters, and this guy was taking all these 2 liters off because he had a party, right? And I'm there merchandising, and I'm like, dude, why are you buying it from here? I go, Albertsons has it on sale. And the store manager from Vons was right behind me. And the guy took off, put them all back. And the store manager for Vons is like, what are you doing? Why would you make me lose all that sales? And all the time, stuff like that too. That was one time I was merchandising, and I had a particular Vons and it's like in San Dimas or somewhere up there. And I had to put all these pallets. It was like triple stacked, but the relief guy the day before had hollowed out the back of one of the pallets. So when I put the 3rd pallet on the top, I didn't know it was hollowed in the back. Everything fell, man. Blood all over the store. I had to call my salesman. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be here like 2-3 hours just cleaning. And I was just there cleaning for like 3 hours, and you just had people kind of help pick up stops. Any of that kind of stuff happened to you while you were?
yeah, I mean, it's not an experience. I mean, you take the good with the bad. You know, back then when you're looking at it, you're like, oh my god, how bad is it gonna be if I just quit right now? But looking back on it, I can kind of laugh. So one of the biggest ones was that Albertsons off of Lincoln. So the store was going through like a little remodel. And you know when they do a remodel, they hire like outside companies with maybe 1 or 2 of their corporate guys that you never really see to come in and check the stuff out. So they have pallets of totes. It's pallets of totes, and the totes are uneven. They're like super wrapped with, you know, the shrink wrap and everything. So one night, I was actually working night crew for Coke, because back then when it was busy, we had night merchandisers that would, they take them from the day. And it was crazy. It was cool because you were left alone, but it was kind of lonely. There's only like 2 of you guys. But you didn't necessarily get paid more. It was just something that you kind of had to do every now and then. But I didn't mind it too much. It was just, I started at 2 and I wouldn't get off until 2 in the morning because you still work 12 hours. But I'm in there and I'm going by, and at the time, Albertsons got night load, so I'm doing the night load. It's 2 in the morning. I'm done. And I'm putting my stuff back. Because it's Albertsons, so it's 3 stacked high, 4 or 5 rows deep. But then I see that stuff kind of teetering. And I'm like, and I'm trying to be real careful because, you know, the things are like, this is your soda pallet, this is that tote. And it's just kind of right there. And maybe just gravity or something, it just started hitting it. And I'm like, hey man, I just hope the morning guy, which the salesman, doesn't come in here and messes us up. So I, you know, checked out with the night manager and everything, and I talked to the guys. I was like, hey, you guys might want to straighten out your pallets, man, because those things don't look sturdy at all. So sure enough, again, it didn't happen to me, but I got blamed for it.
Of course, it was your fault.
The morning guy came in, and then he took the pallet out without really realizing how close the other stuff was. And sure enough, like, it wasn't just one pallet at the top. It was like dominoed back. So like most of those green totes and all of that Albertsons product was everywhere. And they were like, oh, fucking Coke, you need to get everyone in here and clean this up. We're not going to do it. They're like, what happened? Who did this? Who merged the store last night? Fucking Hiram. They're calling me. It's like 6 in the morning and I'm getting blown up. Like, I just got home and went to sleep. What do you want? Hey, man, you need to come back here. What? No, I'm not done from downtown Long Beach back up there to Marina Del Rey. No, just click. I just dealt with it that next afternoon. I was like, what happened? Oh, they're blaming it on you. Well, they got cameras back there. Like, they can see how that stuff was up there. And I told them, like, hey, they might want to chat in the morning. But yeah, they wanted to blame that on me. I was like, you guys are insane. I'm not taking the hit for that.
I mean, merchandising was fun, but at the same time, it was a lot of work, man. Like, I remember leaving my house and it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get to my house and it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I never saw the day. I remember one time I was working, I was merchandising, and I got done with like about 2 or 3 stops, and I'm like, man, my day's flowing. And then I woke up.
Oh.
And I wake up and I'm like, damn, I still got all my stops. But I was merchandising so much that my dream felt real. And I'm like, when I woke up, I'm like, dude, I still gotta go.
But see, like, and this is the cool part about, especially my last year, because again, like going to school, like I only merged on the weekends, and then as I started getting ready to transfer, I actually started working more and then going to school a little bit less. But I stayed as a floater, and I actually liked it a little bit more. Like a lot of people complain about the floaters and this and that, and I'm like, that's what you make of it. If you got a good floater,
It just depends a lot too, like who's your salesman, who's the regular guy. Because
Yeah.
if the guy that's a regular guy takes good care of it, makes your floating be easy.
well, so
Yeah.
that's.
And if it's a terrible guy that doesn't do any work, now you have to do all this extra work.
But see, but that was the cool part about me being a floater, because what I would do is, especially when I would volunteer on the weekends. On the weekends, I didn't know where I'd go.
And by volunteer, you mean you do this for free?
No.
No,
So.
just kidding.
So it'd be one of those like, hey, if you guys need help or need a
Yeah.
merchandiser, I'm willing to go on Saturday, maybe not Sunday, or I can't do it Saturday.
And the weekends are the most important days.
It is, and because it's when most people call off and you have the most issues with everything. So Saturday, Sunday, and believe it or not, Monday is actually very important too, because you're recovering
Yeah,
from
on
that
the
Sunday
weekend.
sale. Exactly. So I wouldn't know where I'd go. I just like who do you think is gonna call off, or might I be, or maybe like. If you come in and help out, I can grant this guy's vacation. So I'd go kind of help the team out. But the relief or the floater always gets blamed for stuff. So I'd go in there and I'm like, now you know this guy didn't care before he left. So I'd go, I'd merch everything. I'd try to clean up. But I'd like kind of do the a-hole thing and like, let me look at this guy's section. Look at all the product back here. Look at all the broken stuff here. And look at all this and this and this. And then I'd be like, hey, just FYI. Because I don't want this guy blaming me. You know, here you go and send.
Because that's what would happen.
And then sure enough, like I had a friend of mine, she's a district manager now that I knew from Spartan Final. And she called me laughing Monday, and I was like, what happened? She's like, no, that's what you said, because I kind of asked the guy about some of those pictures that you sent me. And it's like, what'd he say? He was trying to blame it on you. I was like, yeah, I know. That's how it goes. And she's like, nah, that's BS. You're not.
Yeah.
No, I swear to God, it was the guy higher up your store. Well, I was going to clean it up, but you know, I was like,
Yeah.
no, get the hell out of here. Come on.
You know, and then like when you're merchandising your salesman too, like if your salesman doesn't know how to order, misses. Like if they order way too much, now you're blocking everything. You don't even
Yeah.
need it. And I know sometimes they're just pushing because they're trying to make that extra dollar and send them money or extra bonus or whatever.
Well, I mean, that's when it existed. It doesn't really exist anymore, and it hasn't for a while. But I mean, that's how you learned a lot of stuff too. And I mean, like I even used to get crap from it because you know, this in every business there's like little rivalries and little beefs here and there. So I would have one of my supervisors don't help this idiot out. Why would you say that? Because his orders have been getting better, and he's a moron. So I know you're doing them for him. I'm like, yeah, but if I don't, like, then it's gonna be worse for me. It's gonna be worse for me.
Yeah.
He apparently likes vanilla Coke, so I'm gonna have 4 rows of vanilla Coke back there when I don't even need one. You know, so I might as well just make it easier for myself and the store, and that way, you know, I'm good. It's just making my life easier if I do this. Okay, but you're not getting the credit. Yeah, but it makes my life easier. So why not?
Yeah, I
Put the
remember.
pettiness aside.
I remember one time one of the salesmen, I was at a Stater Brothers, merchandising the Stater Brothers,
Mhm.
and he just ordered a ridiculous amount of 2 liters. Like, we just didn't even need it. And at Stater Brothers, they off-stack everything because their back rooms are tiny. And it was like to the roof. And I'm short to begin with. And those things are heavy, man. Like, you know, you start picking them up, they're like 20, 30 pounds with, you know, all those 2 liters in those trays. And I merchandised the whole store. Did a really, really good job. The store manager comes back. He's like, hey, man, you didn't put the Diet Bargs root beer up there. The Diet Bargs root beer was like all the way at the bottom. And I'm like, dude, I'm not getting that. Like, why would you guys allow this to be stacked like that? Like, I could spend like 45 minutes out here digging that up. I got other stores to go to. He's like, well, you're the merchandiser, so you have to do it. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing it. He's like, well, I'm going to call your boss. So I'm like, well, then call my boss. And he's like, look, if my boss tells me to jump, I ask him how high. I'm like, well, that's you. I'm out of here. And it took off. And my boss called me. But, I mean, back then, too, I was, like I said, I was young. And I would just argue with everybody, man. That was, I don't know. I just didn't like people trying to punk me.
Yeah, well, I mean,
when you get older, like, you know how to deal with this stuff better.
no, that is very true.
But when I was younger, it was like, I'm not doing that. You're out of your mind. Dude, it's like 3 o'clock. I still got 2 stops. You know, like the next store's gonna complain too. I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here.
Well, I mean, so, and like, who doesn't have a story that something like that happened to?
Yeah,
as,
give us a story.
As good as you try to be,
Yeah.
you know, that's just how it's gonna go. You know, I mean, the closest thing like that ever happened to me was, hey, I need you to like, this was a Spartan Final, and the guy kind of was messing with you because he didn't remember that I used to work there, but he just used to like messing with everyone. But he's like, hey, back then we had Smart and Final pallets. Not Smart and Final pallets, but they had the bays. And you would just stick a pallet of 6-packs when they still had the 6-packs that were loose. And he literally was like, you need to spin all the cans forward. And I'm like, what? And that was brand new. It was maybe like my third week. Not even, it was like my second week, because it was the store it was like not the store my dad was working at with my old boss, but it was like down the street from it. And I'm like, you want me to do what? Yeah. All the 6-packs have to be spun for Coke, Diet, Sprite. I was like, Dr. Pepper. I was like for real? I was like, yeah. So then I called one of my buddies and they're like, yeah, I was like that, dude. I'm like, and you guys do it? And literally, you'd be there for almost an hour.
Super anal,
and I'm like, oh my
picky.
God, like my thumbs are cramping up. And I'm like, I can't believe this is a thing.
Oh man,
Luckily, that guy wasn't there for much longer. But
that same store manager, that's Stater Brothers. He would go and check all my work, and if the cans weren't perfectly lined up with the shelf, he would make me do it all over again. And like, it had to be perfectly, like, he looked at it from, and it's like, oh, this is not our standards. Like, you need to fix this.
Well, okay, so now with that being said, those are the things that you learned, and right off you want to try and say, okay, how do you learn things? You know, like, I don't know if you've competed in martial arts tournaments or anything like that, but I remember my losses more than my wins. I remember why I lost, how I felt. So you remember when something like that happens. Like, for instance, if you're building a display, no matter if it's a team display, which we don't really see that much of anymore, or you're just building an end cap for the Wednesday morning build. You're building it, you're more than halfway done. And then I just says, no, it had to be a foot over. And I'm like, no, it had to be a foot over. Why didn't you?
We've had that happen.
You saw me walk. You walked by here. You saw me. Why didn't you say anything? I wasn't paying attention to you. I got a store to run. So the next time, you kind of set up. Hey, I just want to make sure. Are we good? This is it. We're good. Okay, cool. Maybe 1/4 of the way. Hey man, I just wanted to get your take. What do you think? Are we good? Yeah, are we good? Okay, cool. Halfway done. I know I asked you a couple times before, but before we go any further, are there any issues? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, now you're done. Cool. Hey, we have to move. I asked you 4 times. Yeah, but that was me. I'm the grocery manager. The store manager came in and he doesn't like. He's fuck.
Let me ask you. Do you think they did that shit on purpose to fuck with you?
No. So you know what?
Or they were just, because honestly, I've had that happen to me. We were just merchandising Bang, and sometimes they just did it to fuck with us.
Well, see, so that was the thing though, and I started both in sales and as a merchandiser, because I wanted to help my merchandisers out. I wanted to make sure no one messed with them either, as long as they weren't morons and weren't being lazy. But you really have to find out who's really calling the shots. And as a merchandiser, especially when I was in the office, because I wasn't technically a trainer, but I would try and help the guys out. Like, the only thing that I would do would be, hey, this is your introduction. You're going to be here for 3 days on the computer, learning about some history and just a couple different things while you get your uniforms. But here's some advice. And I would tell them, look, man, you want to be cool with 3 people in the store. And that is with the receiver, no matter who it is. The receiver's got to be your dad. He's going to get your stuff. He's going to watch out for your deliveries. He's going to make you or break you. Be cool with your receiver. Don't piss him off. A lot of them may be dicks because it's kind of a hard job sometimes, depending where they're at. So be cool. Second, be cool with whoever's in charge of the store. It may be the receiver. He may run that store for everybody.
Some receivers run the store.
They run the store from back there. That's just how it's going to be. Sometimes it's the grocery manager. Sometimes it's the assistant. But believe it or not, very rarely is it the store manager or store director, or whatever fancy title they want to give themselves. Sometimes those guys won't even want to talk to you. At Target, you'll never see the store manager. The Target's like he's like a CEO there. Never see him. And be cool with like the deli people and the meat cutter people, because they'll take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Just be cool with those 3 people and you'll be fine. But number 2, find out who's really in charge. And because you would learn that, okay, the grocery manager may say it's cool, I might be working on the same. But what are the quirks that the store director has? Or maybe it's a corporate office and they have their VP up at the store. Is that guy going to say something? And you would learn to ask those questions as a merchandiser. Hey man, if I build this, when I build this, how is it going to go here in this store? But it goes back to communication in merchandising as a business, because it's not like it used to be. Even though we have way more communications now, we went from Blackberries to Samsungs now, and you could DM people, you could leave them emails and all that stuff, but we wouldn't use it as much. I mean, we had more communication back in 2005 through 6, which is Nextel's doing the chirp, like, hey, you coming in and cover me tomorrow? Yeah, man, how many loads I got? Hey, this load didn't make it today, so you're going to be here tomorrow. The salesman said he's going to stop by, but hey, we ordered like an extra 2 pallets at this store, and this is where they're going to go, and so on and so forth. Got you, man. Take care of it. You don't really see that nowadays. And sometimes, like with the salesman, hey, just FYI, I ordered these 3 cases of whatever new thing we got going on, and they're going to go here. Okay, cool. Instead, you're getting these things, you're like, what the fuck is this for? Like, and if it's a merchandiser who doesn't care, in the back it goes, whatever. But if you're like, okay, this kind of, I'm going to have to come back for this probably because someone's going to look for it. Or is it for customers or a special order? And that's just the one thing we don't do. So it's communicating with your team and communicating with the store. Hey, man, is this okay here? Yes. Is your boss going to say it's okay here? Did you talk about this with him? Yeah, man, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Now, if after you go through all that, hey, man, we're going to have to change it. Yeah, nah. Because I cleared it with everybody. And I'm leaving now. You want to change it, you can take it out yourself. Okay, cool.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the importance of it, the experience of it. So we were just recently working with Bang. We worked with Bang pretty much all last year, merchandising.
Nice. Very nice.
And when we first started, I was doing a lot of merchandising because I wanted to time trial everything.
That's actually great that you did that.
Yeah, so I wanted to know how long it took because, when my guys were in there, I wanted to make sure they were doing it efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Or were they taking too long and just messing around, and I kind of had a timetable, like, okay, this is how much this is going to take me. Maybe it'll take them a little bit longer, but it shouldn't take them double, right? So this particular Winkle, and if you know Winkles and you live out here, you know who this is. I'm not going to say the person's name. But I walked in, there was the top one for Bang. And they would go through a pallet almost daily of sales. It was out selling Monster and Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
It was their top store for the ones we were covering. And when I first walked in there, man, the store manager's like, it was a 7 pallet display. He's like, I don't like this display. You're going to need to change it all. I'm like, I hadn't even built it. This is my first time in here. He's like, yeah, but it's leaning. You got stuff in the back. It's all the wrong flavors. And he was just giving me a hard time. He's like, I don't want it dummied up at all. I want the flavor straight all the way through. No dummy up whatsoever. So I go to the back room. It's a mess. They didn't give me a good space, and it's a mess. And I'm like, I come back to the store manager. I go, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back tomorrow morning with a few of my guys, and I'm going to redo this whole display. But if you want me to maintain it the way you want, I need you to order a lot more product because you don't have enough. That's why we're dumbing up. She's like, all right, send me another 8 pallets. So we brought in 8 pallets, brought 3 of my guys. 2 of them actually got injured, helping me. I tore it all down, striped it all up, and after I was done striping it up, he comes back and he looks at it. It's all crooked. So can we straighten it out? And then the next day, so I'm like, all right. I come back the next day, and he's like, why didn't you build the display the way I wanted it? This is not your fucking store. Do I go to your house and walk around your couches with my shoes on without talking to you? And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like, you wanted the display this way. I did it like you said. He's like, yeah, but you left the wrap on the cases. And I'm like, yes, of course. I left the bottom ones wrapped because I don't want it to tilt. Because you're getting mad because it tilts. He's like, well, I don't want it on them. I'm like, well, I wasn't trying to disrespect you. And he started walking away. Like, I was, like, he didn't even, like, he was, like, if he was better than me. And honestly, I was heated.
Yeah.
And I had just got this opportunity. It was a big opportunity for us for our business.
Those are the rough ones because you have to.
And I didn't want to upset him and get kicked out of the top store because I didn't want to ruin all my business. But just from experience, I was like, okay. So I went, took care of it. The next day, I come back in, and the receiver's like, he's still mad at you. I took off all the wrapping, and I'm like, what now? Like, I'm doing everything he asked. He's like, you left a gap in the back. I go to him, I'm like, what is it that you want? Like, please come with me. I don't want to do things the wrong way. I want to do it the way you tell me so we don't have any issues. And then once we figure out what you want, exactly what you want, I will do it that way and we'll maintain it that way. He's like, all right. So we go over there. He's like, look, you left this space in the back. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to fill it up with some cases so there's no gap between our display and the back display? Like, I could put some here so it's all covered. So yeah, please. And then the coolers, this is the way I want them. I'm like, all right, that's fine. So I did all that stuff, and then I'm like, dude, you know, we're gonna need more space in the back room. Like, I really want to maintain this. So we went from having one like bay in the back to 2 bays in the back, and in the back room we started ordering like 5 to 7 pallets a week, and I had it all lined up in the back. It looked like a display in the back.
Yeah.
And then actually made our job easier. So when we came in to merchandise it, I just pulled the flavors. And it was actually easier for my salesman to order too, because now it was all flavortized.
Yeah.
We had like 21 flavors, all flavortized. And it was all like lined up. So it was easy for him to order. It was easy for us to merchandise. And he actually even gave us 2 more coolers after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would talk to him and I'd be like, hey, you know what, dude? You're not the top store. He's like, you know what? Give me another display. And he would walk in drinking a bang after that.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, if I was 21 when I first started, I would have got kicked out of the store. It would have been a fist fight.
Yeah, and you know that's the crazy part about it, because like if you ever talk to some store manager, look, that's a messed up job for not a lot of money, believe it or not.
Like the store manager.
Store managers for a lot of these companies, maybe you know, just like with everything else, adjusting for things like inflation, they don't make that much. I mean, like you have Walmart guys who, depending on the store, I think they make a base of like 120 to 140, depending where they're at, and then they get, you know, their commissions from different things. But you know, for as much as you have to do,
It's a lot of people to manage.
it's a lot of people to manage. Well, you have your department managers, but you're literally married to that store. Like most of those guys get divorced and everything. It's just like a lot of stuff. But depending on who it is, like I said before, some guys are worried about profit. Some guys don't care. These want the sales. Some guys just want my store to look pretty. I just want to make just enough, and I want my store to look pretty, and I'll be good to go. They just want to do the bare minimum. Just different personalities, because they're all different people. But yeah, when you have guys like that are like, hey, this is my store, I'm in control, so on and so forth. You work for me.
But once you figure him out, and then he loved me more than any other vendor.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and we got the front display. We're selling more. We got 2 extra. We got like 3 coolers. You know, we have more coolers than anybody else in there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I actually met you were doing POS. You were in charge of POS. So what was your role there? What were you kind of doing?
So that was an interesting role, because I totally was not looking forward to it, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like I said, I was stepping down from a sales position after a couple of months, and it was weird because, like, even though I was stepping down, like they make you reapply for a lower position. So I'm like, okay, cool, like I'll do it. And you know, I walked into the interview and the merchant was like, this is just go with it, man. Like we have to. Like, okay, cool. So we're just in there shooting the stuff. And I'm thinking I'm gonna be under this guy, which I kind of was. But then my boss calls me at the time before I leave. She's like, yeah, because I was trying to get a hold of like someone, like, hey, where am I gonna start on Monday? Like, what's going on? Which route am I gonna be? When am I gonna get my uniforms? And they're like, well, you're actually not gonna be a merchandiser. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Well, you're gonna be working at a Downey, but you're gonna report to the merch manager. I'm like, what I do now? Like, I haven't started this yet. They're like, no, you're gonna be the POS coordinator. I'm like, the hell is that? And they explained it to me, and the way they explained it is like, oh, you're gonna take care of all the promotional materials, you're gonna be taking care of the coupons, and helping out with other things in the office. I'm like, I can be an office bitch? Like, I don't want to do that. It's gonna be boring. So yeah, I went in there, and the first thing I go is I introduced myself to my old boss, because he was there. Mike Paneri's at Monster now, and I met Brian.
Shout
Sneddon.
out to Mike.
And Brian Sneddon, wherever he's at.
Shout out to Brian.
I love you, Brian. One of the best bosses.
Yeah, that's right. Those guys are funny.
I love those guys. So I go in there, and they're like, hey, look, this is what we needed to do. Like, right now it's kind of backed up. Like, we have someone doing it, but they kind of didn't really get it, and it's better for them to just go out to the field and merchandise. So we need you to just kind of clean this up. And I was like, okay, it's pretty simple. It's like all the new stuff for Fanta, put it in the salesman's box so they can put it on the displays. All these coupons, and I'm looking at the boxes of coupons. I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck. But yeah, pretty much it grew from there, because originally, it's just the promotional materials come in, divide them for the store, look who has what store, give them their allotted amount, maybe tell them how they're supposed to use it, because sometimes it was very vague. Do you like stack this around the pallet? Do you put it on there? This is how you put it up. It should take you 5 minutes to put up, because I did it like slow. This is how you would do it, and sometimes I'd show them. And the coupons, that was the weird part, because I actually at first didn't know the importance of it. Like, because by that point I had taken accounting at school, the basic level 1 accounting, so that helped. I was able to balance my books, and then come to find out, it was actually being tracked at Coca-Cola over in Atlanta. All the stuff was being tracked, because we here in Southern California, in Downey being the biggest branch, had a bad reputation for not paying its bills. And I'm like, what? Talking to the office manager, she's like, yeah, like I don't know if this came in or not. I can't pay it. And sometimes you just pay it and nothing had ever even come. So after I started looking all that, I got my filing system. Like, luckily, again, because of some of the college courses I've taken and bookkeeping that I did when I would close down a grocery store and check out, it actually came useful here. So I had my system going, and yeah, I would be in charge of around, on average, maybe like $1.2 million a year worth of coupons. And that was something in itself. And then our credit score it's not necessarily a credit score, but it's like, hey, stuff was getting paid and stuff that, why are we getting billed for this? I never saw this. And I looked through my records, because I would keep all the invoices for stuff that I received. Don't pay it, challenge it. And more than that, it was supposed to be here because it was supposed to be for the Olympics. We never got any of that stuff. So whoever agreed to do that job and we paid them, they should pay us for that. They're like, oh yeah, you're right. File a claim against them. So that actually was pretty cool. I actually had someone from Atlanta come out because they saw some
changes.
And they're like, so they shadowed me for a few days. I even took them out to the trade, and they're like, oh, this is what a merchandiser does, because they didn't know what the hell a merchandiser was in Atlanta, because they're like the bank, and they're like, oh, this is cool. I didn't know it was like this. I'm like, yeah, well, this what all your concentrate goes into, and this is how it affects everyone.
When I looked at you when I was working there, I didn't look at it like. I looked at it like it was a cool role, because you got to work you got to work with everybody. I didn't look at you like you're lower than the merchandisers or lower than the salesman. I saw like a side step, like a different division, because in a lot of ways I felt like you were your own boss. Like I'm sure you had direction, but you had a lot of autonomy too.
Yeah. So I mean, again, like perception, I was like, oh man, this is gonna suck. But then once I saw what it actually was, I'm like, oh, this isn't that bad. But then it's the one thing that's good and bad about me. Like, I'll sometimes take on more than I can chew and just go on different things. But it was cool because, I mean, for the most part, like I said, Brian at the time, Brian Stanton, he actually used to get, not mad, but he was like, dude, you don't have to email me on everything. I'm just like, hey, man, like, I just want you to know what I'm doing throughout the day, because I want you to think I'm pulling a fast one for whatever it is. But besides that, like, if I email you, hey, this stuff just came in, but we're missing 3 or 4 boxes, so we're going to be short. If someone asks, well, then you have the answer. You don't have to waste time calling me. Like, you already know, But it was cool because he did give me a lot of my own freedom to do what I needed to. And,
and I worked with Brian and I met Brian, so he's a cool guy, but I'm pretty sure he was kind of like that with you because you took care of your shit. Yeah. And if you didn't take care of your shit, I'm sure he would have been more on top of you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wasn't perfect by far. Like, he'd get on me for, like, dumb things that I would do here and there. Mostly, like, just piss people off. And I'd be like, hey, just that, why are you going to get a call from this salesman or this manager that I pissed off? And just, why? Just gave me an attitude, and I told him, no. Like, fuck you. Like, pretty much, you're not my boss. It's fucking hire. Okay, I'll take care of it. Okay, cool, thank you. But, yeah, no, like, when it got really to be cool was because, like, I would have to keep my books, and then I would have to go and, hey, like, they need some of this stuff in LA, well, I can send it to them. So I did get to not train, but work with some of the guys in distribution, not necessarily the warehouse, but distribution. So I got to learn that side of the business. Like, oh, we're getting all the imports from Mexicali.
Dude, you were super important because, like,
you worked with everybody. Like, you worked with the director.
That ended up being the coolest part about it. I worked with everyone.
Then you worked with small format, large format, all that stuff, and then when there was trade visits, I'm sure everybody went to you, like, okay, I need all this POS. Yeah. What do we have?
So that was actually, when I said one of my longest days, it was like from like 3 to 7 or something. But like my longest day at Coke was probably getting up at 2 in the morning, being at the office that I had just left a couple hours before, at 3 in the morning, picking up some stuff that we needed, hopping in a truck that we rented, going to LA, and it was Rouse 22, the one in downtown LA.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And we were all around that area for like 3 days before some guy from Atlanta came in. And we set everything up, the ridiculous amount of displays that we put up. wait for the tour to leave, and we'd go back, start tearing stuff down, and doing all the other stuff that we do. And then by the time we got done there, we went to all the CVS's and everything. Multiple trips back to LA, back to some of the coolers that we had to like pick up on the fly, and we had to return them to down here in over by the Citadel. What's it called down there? The city? Commerce. Down by Commerce. Going back to LA, maybe dropping stuff off for Downey. I didn't get off until almost 10 o'clock that night.
For those who don't know, like, trade visits are terrible, man. Like, so I did a lot of trade visits, and I would go out there and help out when I was with Coke, and then when I was at Red Bull too. So someone who they classify as very important with flying from another state or country, come to your area, like, let's say Mutar Kent, who was, you know, in charge of Coke for a very long time. He would come in, and you would put this ridiculous dog and pony show, and just fill up the stores like they were, you know, second Coca-Cola warehouses, and everybody would be out there fixing all these stores, just making it look ridiculous, a ridiculous amount of work. They'd come in, who knew what was really supposed to be there and what wasn't, and they come in, look at whatever was there, fly back out, and then always would go back out there and tear it all back down to what it was. And I remember going out there too with the salesman, and the salesman talking to the store managers like, look, I'm going to bring in 10 pallets and put 5 pallets here, 2 pallets there. And everybody would be out there, the merchandisers, the DMs, directors, you know, like a ridiculous amount of people. So, I mean, we know it because we're Coke, but I think a lot of people that are not in this industry don't understand like how much work that was, putting it up and tearing it down. That's ridiculous.
And I mean, you ask what's the point, because all the money that goes into it and everything, but really, I mean, I think it's just, it shows off kind of like, hey, this is how much the brand, not the brand, but how much we can get away with, because it's the power that we hold over, and because some customers were glad to do it, we'll help you out, that's fine. Others were like, okay, I'll do it just because it's you. You know, you got to flex your relationship. And as much as I hated him, I understand why it was. But yeah, like during that, because it's funny because it was one of us at each location, but we all got pretty much, we all had the same autonomy. It was a couple different guys in Carson that did the job, and then it was pretty much my buddy Freddie. He was over at Los Angeles. Yeah, in Carson, it ended up being Jeff, and then a couple other different people, and then it was always me at Downey, and then we had the lead merch for industry. But yeah, whenever there was something going down, we would all kind of put our heads together and figure out this is what we're gonna do, depending what it was. Now for trade visits, it would be a pain. But that was more like at the branch level. But those guys would come and we'd help out. But where it got really interesting and actually pretty cool would be for the events like the Special Olympics. We all had to get our stuff together. We would go to the USC campus because it was going to be there. And, you know, you got to meet some, you know, celebrities that are there kind of endorsing the Special Olympics and stuff like that. Or the best one that I did, the best event that I had fun with was like the Grand Prix of Long Beach. We were helping the Carson branch out because they were in charge of it because it's in their territory. And for like a week, you're kind of like doing a little bit of everything. And that was the cool part about it because you use what you learn merchandising. And then I used what I learned with the warehouse, working just with the warehouse, like when I would have them ship out racks or something to a different store or a different location or a different area, and learning what I learned with the distribution side, the guys that just ship nothing but trucks of like 2-liter Coke to different branches cross country. All that came together, and I'd be like, hey, when you order it like this. You call in the warehouse and you say you need this size pallet, and that'll help us do here. Because we would do it for like the Grand Prix of Long Beach, we'd get all this pallet, all these loads, just straight loads, or solid pallets, and then we have to break them down, rebuild them, so that the event people could come and take them to the different little spots where they sold everything in, and then we go and like stock the VIP lounge, all the different little areas throughout that whole little campus that they had for the races. But it was just the amount of work that went into it was pretty cool because, you know, some of the DMs are just there like, can we help? I'm like, honestly, like, you're just going to be in the way, especially if you remember merch. Just don't worry about it. Just go make sure those people are happy with what they're doing, or make sure the orders are right, or whatever the case may be. But it ended up being a real cool job because you got to use what you learned everywhere and actually apply it for certain things. But that was the only bad thing you would have to be out there a long time to do a bunch of different stuff.
So I had someone at Coca-Cola that was super high up there, and I'm like, dude, what's the point of all these visits? Like, and he was someone that when he came to town, they would put a show.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I just wanted to see how important I was to people. That's what he told me. And I'm like, dude, honestly, this is what I thought. I'm like, if I was high level, I wouldn't want to see that. I want to see reality to see how to fix it. That's the way I thought.
Yeah.
But this is what someone that was super high up there told me. And I'm like, dude, that's dumb. Like, it's such a waste of, to me, I feel like it was a waste of money.
Well, believe it or not,
It's a lot of hours, dude.
It is. So, believe it or not every tour is supposed to be that way. I forgot what they call them, but there are some, like, visits it's just supposed to be, hey, man, like, don't even tell them we're going because I really just need to see certain things. They either want to see how
that's what I
going.
would do. I wouldn't even, if it were me, I wouldn't even announce it. I'd just show up and be like, let me see what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but like some people know because they have to see certain things and like, you know, you see, because like, you know, especially like someone up there like Muhtar Kent, like his secretary, it's not just like some kid off the street. Like that lady was like a VP of something somewhere at one time. And she's probably going to be next in line to take that over someday. Or she's going to be somewhere pretty soon. But it's not just anyone that's managing that guy's like itinerary and everything. So they know a little bit or two, and like they kind of help people out. Like if they're coming to LA, they can be like, "Oh,
they're coming."
Yeah, so they'll tell you, but they're like, "Hey, we also want to see your financials, so start getting this ready." So that's like kind of like, oh, they're coming because we know they're coming because they want to see this. Like okay, and so on. Because it's not like he's just going to see what's going on. Sometimes they're going to see, well, how are the numbers like? What's our penetration? What are we actually doing? How are we compared to this, and so on and so forth. But like I said, there are those visits where it's huge thong and pony shows, having to do all that, and there are some that are like, no, we just want to see a certain something, and we can't capture it if you guys are doing all this, so don't do it. And some people have actually gotten in trouble for that. So you're like, oh, we weren't supposed to do that. No, you weren't.
So let's talk a little bit about your military. So
I'm not big into politics. Like, I don't follow it closely because I just feel like you don't really know. Like, if you're into like a certain president, like you don't really know that person. You would really have to do a lot of research to really know. So I don't really support politics one way or another, but I do support the military and the troops and all that stuff because you know you're signing up, you're risking your life, you're going out there to help us. I mean, we wouldn't have the freedom that we have if it wasn't for our military. You know, so the military I always appreciate, and I always, you know, I have a bunch of friends that I grew up with that are in different divisions of the military.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about the military. Like, how's your experience been so far, and how long have you been? You're still active, right? And you're still
Yeah, right now I'm on active. Even though I'm National Guard, I'm on active duty orders, so I'm on full time orders. I'm there all the time. Like my weekends, but like at any time they can say, hey, we need you to come back and do X, Y, and Z. Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, I've been in since December 17th. I joined up December 17th of 2007. So just over 12 years here, but it's been a good ride. It's one of the best things I ever did for myself, for my family, everything. It's paying off a lot more now, and it's just you learn. I wouldn't have my same perspective on education and life and politics in general if I hadn't joined, because you know your product, for the most part, at least I believe, your product or your environment and the whatever your parents teach you, because your parents are going to instill you. If they were conservative, you're going to be conservative. If they were liberal, you're probably going to be liberal, and that's just how it's going to go. So especially when I deployed and all the stuff that I saw, I mean, I had a real nice deployment. I don't want to say nice, but I was in aviation and I was a medic in an aviation unit. So my days consisted of get up in the morning, eat breakfast, you show up to work, which we had like a little clinic that we ran, and you were there for 12 hours, and you know, you saw sick people, you did what you could, and then you were off, you ate dinner, you worked out, went back to sleep, and did the same thing for almost a year.
Like, you've been in there for, you said 12 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel the way I feel about it, if you've been in there 12 years, because you like it, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
if you weren't into it, you wouldn't keep re-enlisting.
This is true. Well, so again, like,
and it's not for everybody, because I do have friends
Yeah.
that have done it for a little bit and they're like, I don't want to go back. And then I got some that all, you know, they love it.
well, so I mean, like, I tell, because people ask me, hey, like, how do you like it? I'm like, I like it, but it's because I like my job. Like, I have one of the best jobs, you know, just helping people out, you know, Army medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that all depends who you're with and what your job is and who you're with's mission. So what I mean by that is, if you're with an aviation unit and you're a medic, what are you going to be doing? If you're stateside, you're going to be board locked because there's nothing for you to do. Now, when you deploy, you're going to be busy doing flight physicals, doing labs, x-rays, and stuff like that, keeping people healthy. But if you're in an infantry unit, well, you're going to be super busy because now you're going to be going on missions with these guys. You're going to do what they do, and it's going to be a lot of tough grinding, getting shot at. Like, I never got shot at. We got bombed a couple of times, but it wasn't that bad. Like, if you're an infantry unit, you're going and you're looking for a fight. You got to keep those dudes healthy and alive. So you're like, oh man, that must have sucked. How did you do it? Man, I was chilling in aviation. Or you could be in an intelligence unit. What do you do as a medic? Nothing. Until just, you're needed to go do something with those guys, but that's going to be rare. So, it all depends where you're at and really the climate of what you're doing. But yeah, to your point, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be doing it. And let's be fair, it's a job. While I was at Coke, they paid me extra to go on the weekend and do my thing. A lot of people say the benefits. I'm like, oh yeah, the benefits. I mean, I like my health insurance. It's cheaper than most everybody. That's a big reason why I first joined up, because health insurance was expensive. I mean, I remember making around $800 a week at Coke, working 12 hours, 6 days, way back when I was making like $11 an hour. But man, every paycheck or every other paycheck was like almost 1/4 of that was my health insurance. I was like, fuck. With kids, I need it, and this is expensive.
Yeah.
So once I joined, it was like, wow, I have great health insurance, and I only pay like a couple $100. That's awesome.
So working at Coke and being in the military, did Coke help you out in the military in any way, or did the military help you out working at Coke in any way?
Believe it or not, working at Coke helped me out in the military. Because you got to remember, like, what time do merchandisers usually get into work?
Super early, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Yep. So especially when I joined, I was already working at midnight, from midnight to 5 in the morning. But if not, yeah, it's a merchandiser, 5, maybe 6 in the morning. On build days, 3 in the morning. So I'm over here at boot camp, and everyone's coming from different walks of life. They're getting up at 4 in the morning to go work out. Just work out. You're getting paid to work out. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to. It's so early. And I'm like, hey man, I'd be like close to getting on my second stop at work now. Let's go. What do you do? Oh, I'm telling some guy from Montana. Oh, I merchandise. What's a merchandiser?
Yeah.
You ever see those guys at the store? Nah, man, my store's like 30 miles away. I'm like, oh, you're from Montana. God damn it. Okay.
It's like you're from Iowa.
Yeah, and you learn all this different stuff. Where are you from? Mendoza? Oh, I'm from LA. I live in Long Beach. Hey, man, you know Snoop? No, damn Snoop, man. Like, they don't. These guys are from Idaho. They think everyone knows Snoop because you're in Long Beach. Like, no, man, it doesn't work that way. But, so it helped me there because, you're on your feet all day. It's a physical job. Like I would say the more you merchandise, the more efficient you get. It's not as bad because little tricks that you learn help you out. But just physically working with your hands, boot camp was a breeze.
What about the other way around? Did anything like in the military help you out with Coke?
Yes, it did. And it did, and sometimes not for... I don't want to say...
Not in a good way?
Not in a good way for the business, but in a good way for myself. Like, standing up for myself, right? Yeah. So, and we all do it. It's no secret. Like, no one takes their lunch. Some people might, but for the majority, you work through your lunch and you eat later. Because you're really going to, like, stop what you're doing, merchandise the store. Hey, I got cases on the floor and I got a pallet halfway out the back door, but I'm going to lunch. I'll be back. No, you can't do that. So, I remember one day I just came back from basic and AIT, and I was helping out over in LA, and it wasn't a tour going on, but there was something happening. And they're like, hey, we need this store ready. And I'm like, okay, well, the load's not here yet. So we're going to go eat. It was me and like 3 other new guys. So the merch soup comes in. What are you guys doing? Eating. It was at a Vallarta. We were just having like some pupusas and some like rice and stuff like that. We're eating. Are you serious? Are we not allowed to eat? Is that what you're telling me? Because if you are, like, we can go to HR right now. We see what they have to say. And they're like, and this is a guy that knew me before. Before I was like, yeah, man, let's just go until the job's done, then we'll eat and everything. And he's like, no, like that's not what I said. Let's just, okay, just hurry up and get done. Oh, now you're rushing me during my lunch. I learned my rights as a person when I joined. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So then they're like, oh, no. It's like, hey, man, like, how am I going to be treated better there than here? Like, it's totally different. I got fed 3 times a day. You didn't get messed with when you were eating. all this other stuff. And yeah, you know, it's just like I don't know. To me, it was better for me, but other people were like, "Oh, we expected you to be all gung ho." I'm like, "Nah, man, that's Hollywood. Like, you have to operate with more sense when you're doing certain things."
Yeah.
Oh, don't you guys get up early in the morning to go do a mission? Like, you can't compare merchandising to an actual real world mission, dude.
Yeah.
That's not how this works. Like, if that was the case, if the mission's kicking off at 6 a.m, you're there at 8 o'clock the night before.
Yeah.
Hey, are all your guys here? Do you have all your ammo? All this other stuff. Yeah, it's not like we're gonna go do a mission right now. It's not the same as merchandising, guys. Like,
Yeah.
totally get that out of your head. So yeah, I learned a little bit of everything, but I mean, it helps out. Because even then, like, believe it or not, like, and it's just management in general. So, you know, you have good leaders, you have bad leaders. Like at the grocery store, the guy was like, "Hey, this is my store, I don't go in," and all this, and you're there taking it. Okay, sometimes I can see it, but like when people are rude, is it necessary to be rude? Not even in the military, we're like that.
It's never necessary, and he was rude to everybody.
But I got to the point where it didn't really bother me, because I'm like, it doesn't matter what he tells me, it's not affecting me. What bothered me about it is, like, I'm gonna have other people coming in here that are young, and they're not gonna know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, man, I gotta figure this out, because I don't want, he's gonna kick out all my employees.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to straighten it all out. And then what I did is, after I straightened it all out, I just had to make sure my top guys were there, and like Joe, and make sure, like, look, Joe, this is how he wants it, and never had a problem.
Right. And even then, you know, like, when you had another guy that said, "Hey, when my boss says jump, how high?" Even in the military, when you give an order, okay, first of all, it's just a lawful order. Because just my boss told me so is a good way to get sent to prison for a very long time, depending on what they told you to do.
Yeah.
And that's not an excuse. It was an excuse in World War II when the Nazis were doing whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
And throughout the years, hey, you killed innocent people. My boss told me to, and you were stupid enough to do it. Yeah, you're gonna burn for it too. Same thing here. Like, no, man, like, that's actually not a safe idea to put this pallet on top of that pallet. Well, we don't have any space. I don't know. You can do it. I'm not gonna go. Hey, and this is actually just a couple of maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago at the most. We started getting big into safety when I was in the office, and I would help give some of the briefs for the safety issue because I was on the safety committee representing the merchandisers, and I would really tell people, "Hey, man, look, if we don't have ladders, and you have to climb up to get some stuff down, then don't do it if you're not comfortable with it." Because, I mean, it's hypocritical for me because, you know, I'll take some 224 packs, stack them on the ground, climb up on a pallet, and get like one or two things. But there was a case where you had a guy who almost either did fall off or almost fell off a ladder, like a skinny tube ladder that you would climb up the roof of your house to try and get a couple of things down. And I'm like, first of all, dude, you could have got fired for that because it's against safety. You're not supposed to go so much above. I forgot what the manual said. But I'm telling people, is it worth it? Like, you're getting paid maybe $15 an hour to mess up your back for life. Because the store is saying, "I don't care, you can do it. My forklift is broken, but you still need to merch that." No, just leave. It's not your fault. And if the company doesn't back you up, then we're gonna have some explaining to do. And if your manager says, "Hey, you need to do it," do me a favor, send me that in an email. Watch how quick that changes. And some people are like, "Why are you telling them that?" Because it's their rights. They need to know this because it's not safe. And you wonder why we're spending a ton of money on all this stuff because it's not like the company is on the hook for it. They still have to pay for physical therapy, the doctor visits, and everything else. So you're kind of protecting the company's interests as well, but you're protecting the people. You know, so it's just one of those things that, yeah, just doing what you're told sometimes may not be the best thing for you because it's not safe. Don't do an unsafe act. Unless you kind of know you can get away with it, you're your own person, you judge it, but no, you can't just do that. But that's what I got from the military, just kind of like learning what to question a little bit more, learning when to pay attention, kind of when to stand up for yourself, and when to say, "Nah, man, like, come on, really, like, if they don't treat me like shit, how are you going to do that out here?" You know, I don't know if you've ever dealt with this. This is one of my personal favorites. Whenever you'd walk into a store, someone wouldn't say, well, at least for you, because I introduce myself as a merchandiser wherever I go. Shirt tucked in, uniform tucked in, go and talk to them. Who's in charge? "Hey, how you doing? I'm the Coke merchandiser. I'm here. Is there anything specific you need me to do?" "Oh, no, but cool. I was just about to call to see where you were." cool. That's 2 minutes of, yeah, I'm here at the store already. I'm not going to go check in with this guy because I already did, right? So I'm checking in with you. Sometimes people will be like, hey, Coke. I'm like, oh, like I didn't introduce myself to you. You just didn't care. F me, right? So I'd be like, hey, Ralph's, what do you want? Like, just kind of messing with them. What do you mean, hey, Ralph's? Well, I mean, I introduced myself. I don't have a name tag like you do, but I mean, fuck, like, it was like a couple of minutes ago. You could just call me by my name. Oh, I'm sorry, man. It's just a little busy. Okay, cool. What's up? Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Yeah, sure, no problem. Just go. There's little stuff like that. Like, after a while, people know, okay, don't mess with this guy, or this guy's pretty cool. Just be cool. That's all it is. Trying to make work cool. Especially if it's a store you go to every now and then, or if it's a customer people want to keep happy. Like, well, okay, yeah, let me have some fun with this guy so he knows he can't just walk all over you and get that good relationship going. And after that, man, it'll be smooth sailing. But that's something we don't train these guys. That's the biggest thing, training for merchandisers.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I was young, it was very confrontational. But as I got older, like all that stuff, I knew how to deal with it better. So it's like, how do I say what I want to say and still be respectful?
Mm-hmm.
Where before I would have just like, I didn't care. I didn't even care they fired me when I was young because I was just young. It's like, whatever, I'll go work for Pepsi or do nothing for 7-Up and get paid, like at that time. But then, older and all that, it's like, okay, let me, say what I have to say, but without, just because they're disrespecting me, like, let me say what I need to say without being disrespectful back. Because we don't need to go back and forth like that. And then, as I start running the company, to me, it's not even about me anymore. Like I said, now it's about, like, I got to get everything straight so it doesn't happen to my people. Like, I don't want, you could disrespect me, but don't disrespect my people because they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, sometimes you hear weird, it's just, again, it's personalities, and sometimes people don't click with each other well. I remember there was this one grocery manager. He was always working for Top Value. There's not that many of them around anymore, but it was like Top Value, Value Plus, that company. He was always great with me. I love the guy. I can't remember his name. Old school guy. If you weren't not necessarily the sharpest tool and shit, he'd kind of give you a hard time. If he had to go check up after you, oh man, it would be a wrap. He'd just come to my store. But I remember I had a guy who was with us, and then he wasn't the best merchandiser. He just did what he needed to kind of get along. And then he figured out, hey, if I go to 7-Up, I'll do less and get paid more.
Yeah.
Cool. He went to 7-Up as a merchandiser, got paid more for doing less. But I remember it was one thing that he didn't do. He didn't stock something right or something. And just from one day or from one moment to the next, that cool old grocery manager got a 2-liter and threw it at him. They kind of went at each other and they like, what? And I'm walking in. This is
when he was at 7-Up?
He was at 7-Up. I'm like, what happened? Because he walked outside, he's, going off, and I'm like, what happened? Guys, what you did? What? And I go inside, and I'm like, God damn right, I threw it. Why? He didn't do this. I'm like, were you just having a bad day? No, I can stand him anyways. I'm like,
Well, back in the day, you could get away with it.
Oh, yeah, you could.
So there was a manager at Super 8. If you try to steal from him, he would literally fist fight you.
Yeah.
He would chase you down and fist fight. I mean, you get in trouble for that kind of stuff now, but back in the day, it was different. Like, the cops would show up and be like, well, he tried to steal from me. Yeah,
so that's a funny one. The first time I kind of saw something like that, I was 16 years old, and I was, it was like the middle of the summer, and I was out, I actually was brand new to the store. I didn't even have my uniform yet. I was just like in some khakis and like a white polo shirt, like sweeping the back room. And the manager calls me up front. I'm like, oh, what's up? But he has one of the dividers, for the check stand dividers, in his back pocket. It's those like old school rubber ones.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, these two guys, I know they're going to try and steal something. So as soon as they step out, we're going to get them. I'm like, oh, this is a thing? And the safety video, like, they said, no, quit being a bitch. I'm like, okay, so I guess screw the safety video. That's fine.
Did you get a divider too?
No, I had my broom right next to me. So I'm running and hinging. So I was unhinging like part of the broom, like the push broom. And I was just going to go out there like Donatello and just start smashing on dudes. But they kind of picked up that we were onto them because we were waiting by the door.
Yeah. And
they like put the stuff back and laugh. But this one other time was actually like maybe a year later. It was a Friday. It was after school. I went to go pick up my paycheck. and I was with my then girlfriend, now wife, and one of my buddies, and I literally just got done picking up my paycheck. I'm cashing it, and I had a question for one of my buddies because I didn't know if I was gonna show up like on Saturday or whatever. He's like, yeah, hold on, and I'm like, he's not even paying attention to me. I'm trying to talk to him. He's walking outside. He's like, these dudes just stole something. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm just out with them. My buddy and my girlfriend are outside, and then there's one of our other buddies who's just outside chilling that worked for the store. 2 kids walking out, but they had a coat on, and my buddy's like, "Hey, come here." Guy turns around, "What you want, motherfucker? You've been following me. This is bullshit. All this type of stuff." So out of nowhere, I thought my buddy who was running the store at the time punches him because he goes like this. He goes like this. He doesn't punch him, but all of a sudden, skinny kid with not even a big coat, and pulls out one of those 1.5 liter bottles of like vodka, and I'm like, "Where the hell did you get that thing from?" So then the kid and the other kid that was with them, they rush in. I'm off, so I didn't care. I just jump in the mix. My buddy from the same high school, we just start beating on these 2 kids. It was bad, man. Yeah, the cops came in because it literally it was like 3 blocks away next to Krispy Kreme down at the traffic circle. What happened? They were trying to steal. Okay. You guys get them? Yeah. Loss Prevention came in. They saw the videotape. They were just having a good laugh about it. I was like,
yeah, man.
They're signing off on it.
Back in the day, you could get away with it. Now you just get sued. But back in the day, it'd be different. I remember when I was a salesman at Red Bull, this kid walked into a liquor store, stole all his candy, and just took off running. And the manager, the owner of the store, just started following and chasing him. They ran away for blocks, like I could see him blocks away running. And it's just like, but it's like, dude, like you're gonna go into the hood and you're gonna get like you don't know where this kid's gonna go. You might get shot. Like it's just too dangerous now.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Back then it was different because people would fight. Now it's like people don't fight; they pull guns out now. You know? So it's not.
Well, I mean, I think you'd have to agree that a liquor store is going to be very different from like a Ralph's or Smart and Final or whatever the case may be.
It just depends on you. Like when you run the store too, you take it so personal. Like you own the store, so it depends on how personal you take it.
Well, I mean, clearly, like if I was a in a position where I had to be like a store manager or something like that, like I'd personally be more worried about like the
safety.
Well, not just the safety, but I'd be like the in-store threats, and not threats, but like the internal loss that you do. Because I mean, statistically, the biggest thieves are your employees. It sucks, man. I hate to say it, but it's true.
No, that's what it was for us for Red Bull. Our biggest
reason we couldn't sell to stores is because all the employees in the store, because it was such a small can, would steal it. I had wads that they wouldn't even sell Red Bull because I'm like, why aren't you selling it? He's like, because all my employees drink it. And I go, then you have an employee problem. You should fire all those guys. But there's probably too many of them.
Yeah, and that's the hard part about it. And it's sad because, like, I mean, and it's funny because the worst ones are, like, the actual management themselves because they know what they're doing. And you wonder why when one gets transferred or fired for something, like, the books are all messed up because they were the ones doing their own audits and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I got a friend who does loss preventions. And
I mean, even to the point where, again, like, not questioning certain things. Like, I don't know how I didn't get fired for a couple of different things. Like, and it's funny because I was over at I was at Sprouts buying something the day before yesterday, and one of the girls was like, "Hey, I need to give a credit or something like that. Can I get your key?" And the girl looked at her. "I'll go over there and I'll do it." And I was like, "That's smart because it's
you don't want to put your name."
Exactly, because I used to have a boss at Smart and Final, who like you have customers that shop at the store every day. They're your loyal customers. You want to help them out, but he'd be like, "Hey, do me a favor. Go and take $25 off of this lady's order." And I'm like, "Okay, well, he told me to." But he'd always have me turn my key and put my number in, and I'm like, "Oh, why is this guy giving $25 off some random person's order?"
Yeah, at the time you didn't even question it, right? You're young. Yeah. It's like, all right, but
okay,
now it's
cool,
like,
yeah. Especially because he was the same boss that turned me into a dick. Like, so Coke didn't merch it. You're here an hour early. You're gonna merch it. And I'm like, fuck. So if I don't do what he tells me, there's gonna be some stuff to pay. But it's a lesson learned. Like, but yeah, it's just they're gonna be the biggest thieves. So I'd be worried more about that than anything else. Like, because if I'm at a big store, you're factoring in that loss anyways. And if it's something pretty big,
there's a percentage of shrinkage.
Yeah, you're gonna have a certain amount of shrink. So don't even worry about it. But if you're a liquor store owner, man, when I worked Cat 2 with liquor stores and stuff like that, that was real hard. That like you have to be a salesman there, kind of like what you guys are.
Oh no, you guys we're not selling. We sell. selling Coca-Cola versus selling new brands is a whole nother level.
Well, even
and we'll
I can
ask our
imagine this
studio
worse.
audience later about this.
Okay. Because I mean, like.
But it's harder than large
because
format.
large format. I don't care. I'm using the corporate credit card. Bring in 2 trucks if you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
But at this place,
price, yeah.
can I afford 10 cases for a minimum delivery? Well, let's see what you sell here. Okay, yeah, you can afford it. I can try and get you discount. This discount for this, but you have to sell your soda at 2 for $3. It's like, but I'm not gonna make that much money. Like, well, let's see what else we can do, what else you can sell, and so on. And part of your job was to teach some of these guys, hey man, this is you're gonna get at best case scenario 20% on this. You're not gonna make 30% off of this. Not for selling it at this price. You need to do this. Oh, okay. Some people like it. Some people tell you get the hell out, and then you have the wholesalers to compete. But I mean, even some people are like, hey, I had to pay my Bud Light bill, so I don't have any money for soda.
Yeah. You're gonna have to get it in the next order.
Yep. You'd be like, oh, God damn this guy.
Or I'm gonna cut this. I can only afford 12 packs this time.
Yep.
So all right, tell us, because you were at Coca-Cola for a while. You gotta have some, like, what's the funniest story or one of the best stories? You don't have to mention names if you don't want to, but
I mean, like, so describe, like, funniest, like, how?
I don't know. I mean, you were there, like, or something crazy that just happened without, like, getting anyone in trouble. When you're at a company for a long time, you just, things happen, or something just crazy that might have happened while you were there.
I'm trying to think, like, look, so, like, I've always been that person who was like, nope, didn't see it. No, you're not getting.
Well, you saw it.
You're not getting me involved in this. I don't want to know about it. Because I would have some guys, hey, I just, no. Whatever you and the other person did, because I kind of saw you guys, but I didn't want to. No, not happening. So I always try to keep my nose clean, because it's like, hey, if you knew about it and didn't say anything, you're just as guilty. So I always try to, and it's kind of a bullshit answer too, but that's like the best thing I can do.
Well, like, okay, I'll give you an example for me. So when I was working, and it doesn't have to be funny, it could be just something like crazy. So when I was at Red Bull, they were stealing from us, from all our vans.
Okay.
And we had vans, and our vans had product, and these guys would open up our vans and offload all our Red Bull cases. Because we would sell it for like $32 a case, but you could go anywhere and sell it for 20, and someone would buy like 100, 200 cases from you like this. So they sold about $70,000 from us worth of product in a few months worth of time. And one time out, and we all knew about it, so they kind of told us like, hey, be careful. And we had double locks on it. We had a regular lock and another lock.
But when you say they, who is they? Who's stealing stuff?
Well, I would tell you. Because so what ended up happening is one day I was out with one of my salesmen, and I was at a CVS with him. And I parked my car, he parked his van, and it was all full of Red Bull. We walk in, it's our first stop. We both go in there. I come back out. I'm like, oh, I forgot something in my car. Let me go back out there. And I had like a small little silver HHR car. I come back out, and next to my Red Bull van, my guy's Red Bull van, was a van. And it was parked facing the other way. The whole lot was empty. But this guy parked right next to us. Looked very suspicious. I came out, and I'm like, dude, why is he parked right next to our van, parked the opposite way, like ready to go, when everything else is empty? Like, it's weird. So I told my guy, hey man, I'm gonna take off, but be very careful, because I think these guys are trying to steal from us. So as I was leaving, they took off and went across the street far away. But they parked where you could still see my guy's van. And then I called my guy, and I drove off, and I drove by them, and when I drove by them, they saw me, they drove off. And I told my guy, hey man, I think these guys are trying to steal from you, so when you leave, be careful, let me know if you see anything, I'm heading back to the office. So a few minutes later, he's like, yeah dude, I'm driving to my next stop, and that car you described is following me. They're a little bit further behind me, but they're following me. So I'm like, all right, well, where are you going next? You know what? Go to the Kmart and park right in front of the store, far away, but where you could see from the inside of the store your van. I'll meet you there. So I went and I picked up a different car from a different manager.
Okay.
Like, give me your car, dude. I think they're following us. Like, it was happening, but it was surreal. Like, is this really happening, or am I tripping out? So I go down there. I'm at the Kmart, but I'm in a different car, so they don't know. I changed my clothes. And my guy's van's parked right here. You could see it. And the other van was far away. but where he could still see my van. I'm like, no, dude, this is. I go, you know what? Take off. Go ahead, get in your van. Go to your next stop. So he goes. As soon as he takes off, the other van takes off behind him. I take off behind him. I call the manager that was in charge of like the warehouse. I'm like, dude, they're following my guy. I think they're gonna steal. He's like, all right, I'm gonna call the cops. I call another manager. I'm like, dude, I'm at this Walgreens right now. They're gonna steal from us. Come down here. I'm gonna go to this John's Market next. He's like, I'll meet you there. Dude, it was crazy,
like a
right?
Operation.
Yeah, so I get off the van and tell him, go to the Walgreens, go outside the Walgreens, just keep doing your job. I'm gonna be out here. So he goes into the Walgreens. The guy's parked there, like pretty close where they could see. I get off my car and I go to the bus stop and I'm sitting at the bus stop. There's a few people around me. I can see everything they're doing. They're watching my guy, I'm watching them. They don't know I'm watching them. Then my guy's like, yeah, the cops are coming. I'm like, all right. So I'm going to go to the John's Market next. So I tell my guy, go to the John's Market, park really far away so they could try to steal from you. The other manager was on his way to John's Market. So my guy takes off. The van takes off after him. They get to John's Market. He parks far away. The other manager's already there. I still am going back to my car. As soon as he gets there, he walks in. He parked really far away. I'm like, park really far away on purpose so they could try to steal from us. As soon as he gets into the store, 3 guys jump out of the van and start breaking into the van.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The cops come because we already had told the cops. The cops surround him. Everybody starts running all over the place. I get there. I see a guy running towards me. Everybody's running all over the place. There was like another van that showed up. People were running everywhere. They caught like 2 or 3 of them. 4 or 5 of them got away. We go back to the police station, and one of the guys they had was standing right next to me at the bus stop. And I had no idea that he was next to me, part of this operation of people seeing me. It was like a 10-man show.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea at the time. I thought it was only 3 of them. But there was a whole bunch of them. It was like a big conspiracy. And the guy that was next to me was wanted for murder. Yeah, but I didn't know. And then so they caught him and they arrested a bunch of them and they kind of stopped it for a very long time. So that was my interesting story.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have.
You could top it. Come on.
No. So like, I'll give you this one. We had This is it's because it's energy drinks and it's just so ironic. Because we had this one guy who was like, he was an old school driver. He'd been in LA for a long time. And he was, he looked like he was big, imposing, like, what you would think is like a big, like, trucker, like old school Hispanic dude, and big old mustache, buzz cut, everything. And he'd walk around. He was a fairly friendly guy. And I remember for a while, the drivers were kind of getting like a little incentive, like, 'cause we needed pallets. Please start bringing back pallets. Please start bringing back pallets. If you're ever around downtown LA, like the meat market area and everything around the LA branch, you see a couple of guys, you'll see like old guys just carrying a pallet, from place to place on a bike and selling it for like $1 a piece at a yard. So this guy had the bright idea one day to go and stop by one of these yards that looked kind of sketch, but it was like a recycling yard. He noticed just stacks and stacks and stacks of Coke pallets. Hey, what the fuck? He just walks in there. No one tells him to do it. He just did on his own accord. Good for him, whatever. Starts threatening the guy who's like some Korean operation or something like that. Hey, all these pallets are stolen. We know they're stolen. You need to load them up right now because this is a big old thing. We've been watching you, and like the junior guys bought it. So they load this guy's truck, big 53-foot truck, full of pallets. He's like, some more of my guys are going to come right now. We don't ever see this again. Just letting you know right now. He calls 2 of his guys that were coming back. Okay, cool. So they like, oh, this guy saved us thousands of dollars. With the old branch manager, this is what you guys should be doing for Coke. And we're like, yeah, dude, okay, well, see what we do. Like, our merchandising isn't enough, whatever. But this guy was like Mr. Coke now. Like, yeah, look at this guy. But I guess what this guy would do is that he would actually go ahead and kind of like skim off certain things off of certain pallets. From back then we had Rockstar. So like, like you always have like a little oddball pallet of stuff that's broken or pickups or something like that in the back of the trucks. So I guess a lot of the stuff he would skim off, especially the independent markets or sometimes the grocery stores, he'd build up his own little pallet of stuff. And he'd go around, He had his customers, he had his liquor stores that would do it. But how he got caught was the crazy part, because in Cat 2, when you're selling to gas stations and liquor stores, it's a 2-day turnaround. And sometimes they underorder or they run out, and they're like, dude, I need an order. I'm like, I'm not going to send you 20 or 50 cases in a hot shot. It's not going to happen, dude. They're going to think I'm crazy. Nor do you get deliveries over the weekend. So I guess it was a pretty good weekend for him. He had a bunch of Rockstar they had taken off, like 2 or 3 Rockstars every other pallet for every stop. So he had like 12 cases or 16. It's like 2 layers of Rockstar. And he parked at a liquor store. And he went and he sold it to them. But the across the street, because you know you see that there's a meat market and there's a liquor store. The guy from the meat market called up his salesman. You're a fucking liar. There's a guy getting a delivery right now. That's my other friend. I know him. Yada yada. What the fuck are you talking about? So Monday morning he's like, hey, did you guys deliver anything? No. Well, this guy says that he did. He's seen it, and I don't think he's like that worked up over it. Well, this can't be. Hey, what happened? Huh, this guy sounds pretty serious. So they go to the liquor store. Oh yes, I get my guy, he comes in, they go to across the street. Hey, did someone deliver something to you? Yes, this guy, he's like a driver salesman, he comes in and he sells me stuff. What the fuck did you just say? Like, yes. So they start looking at him, hey man, like, okay, this might be a thing. Let's check this out. So sure enough, they started following him. They kind of figured out little by little. And he, like, the volume that he did it at for a while, because he'd do this fairly often. It ended up being a couple of $1,000s a week that he would, not a week, but a month, that he would do that to. And yeah, like from the highs of being the pallet hero to like, hey man, like a couple of $1,000s worth of like energy drinks and stuff like that, sell them off to the side. Like, luckily he didn't go to prison, but like, it's like, why would you want to go through that?
I heard that story.
Did you?
But I think if you worked long enough, you've heard that story before.
So this is the other one, and I don't want to get in trouble for this one because I didn't really know.
So don't
what was
mention
going on. I'm not because I don't.
anything incriminating.
So we had this driver. You know, like you have different drivers by the names or different people, or whatever. Like, you know, fucking Ruben or someone would call me Buzz Lightyear because I kind of do look like him. But we had a driver called El Mago. What's El Mago?
Magic.
The magician. It's like the magician. What the fuck? When I first started, I was like, the magician. What kind of shit is this? Like my mentor kind of at Coke was a scorpion. I was like, why? He'd give you a story behind it.
The scorpion.
Yeah, and it's like, why is the magician? Don't worry about it. Make stuff disappear. I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at this, and you know, sometimes you get a big delivery, and when you're new, you're like, how the fuck did we do this? Like, there's no way we're gonna fit all this stuff in here, right? And especially back in like the early 2000s, you said something interesting about this Winco. The back room looked like a display. Well, because that's an easier way to merchandise and order. It's just better.
Yeah.
No, you need to have displays outside and in the back room. That's a different topic. But I was new, and I'd be like, how the fuck are we gonna fit 18 pallets into this Ralph's? There's no fucking way. We're not gonna do it. Blah blah blah. Come to find out, I was right. Not all those 18 pallets actually fit in that goddamn Ralph's. But how they didn't fit, it was a sleight of hand thing, and I was like, you motherfuckers, is that what you call a magician? So I guess what this guy would do, he would show up to a store, but people would tell him, hey man, look, I ordered a bunch of shit, I'm not gonna get rid of it. I need you to help me out and make shit disappear. So I guess the way that this guy would do it, he would come to the store and be like, hey, you're like my second or third stop, but I'm gonna take care of you now because those other guys, whatever. And how I was told was that he would like pull out all the other pallets for the other stops, and then you'd start checking stuff in. You start checking stuff in, and you start checking stuff in. And I remember, yeah, but that's what you would do. You would take your pallets and start working some of them, start separating some of them on the U-boat, and start stacking on the section. But the genius of it was, sleight of hand again, is when he was, okay, the load's checked in, the load signed for, you're putting all the other stops stuff back into the truck, but mixed in with some of those other ones. I guess he would like take 2 or 3 of the pallets they just signed for back in to the truck.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, that's cool, but like you still have 3 pallets that you're not gonna get rid of. Like, how? So I guess this guy like had kind of like the same deal. He had a liquor store, or like he knew someone that had like a business that he would sell them to before he got like back to the branch. And but I guess that guy must have got caught or something because I didn't see him for like a
He
while.
disappeared.
Yeah, he disappeared. He did the trick on himself. Yeah, that was it. He was done. So those are the two bigger ones that I remember of like stuff that was going down. On top of like the other
Little nonsense.
well, because I mean, I guess for a while in I think it was one of the branches, like they were doing some shady stuff. Like they would like load up a truck full of stuff and like charge it to like different accounts or something. But like they wouldn't even leave the yard, but it looked like a sale had been made, and then they would just come back and it would go back in the system. And like when you look at it, you're like, what's the big deal? It's like phantom sales or something like that. It's like very illegal because you're padding the bucks of what you sold. So I was like, oh, that's the thing. A lot of people got fired for that one. I remember. So I was like, okay.
It happens everywhere, man. It happened with us when we were doing Red Bull.
Was it? Yeah.
Sorts of stuff like that, And then when they got caught, they got fired, So you could only get away with it for so long before it's like everything's off, So.
But even then, you look at Smart Vinyl. What the store that my dad was working at, it was just the audacity of it. You had one of the receivers. Well, no, it wasn't a receiver. It was just like one of the key carriers. He had he would like check people in, so he was kind of like the de facto receiver. And sure enough, like he would handle parts of the orders, and I guess they're looking at him like, damn, we're selling a lot of 2 liters here or something like that. And one day they were just checking out on the camera. They were inside BSM in the office, and they saw the Coke truck take off a pallet. But literally, like they took it off, and this other guy like pulled up a pickup truck, and just loaded it on. It's like a whole pallet. He just loaded it on. This guy's helping them, and just took off. And the manager's looking at this because the manager wasn't supposed to be there that day. That was kind of one of the things that like happened.
Got it.
He's like, "Hey, did we sell a pallet to anybody?" Like, no. What the fuck just happened? Magic. Yeah, sure enough, that guy like had a buddy who was like, "Hey man, I'll just come in and pick up all this soda and just do stuff like that for people." So that guy got fired, and then the Coke guy was in. Well, why did you help him? The driver was like, "I don't know. Like once it's off my truck, I don't care. It's not my thing." Like, and it really isn't. Once it's off their truck, who cares? It's on you. It's your stuff. Even breakage, you could argue, "Hey man, once you take it off, it's your job to keep that product safe. Like if he keeps getting broken, like don't come back to me trying to return it." Because you can manage your store. Drinkage and stuff like that, like, no. Because even, like, for you, all my employees are drinking it. Well, that's you. That's your problem. Don't come back to me trying to return it. Because that's straight theft. No, I'm not going to honor that. So, yeah, it wasn't. Those are, like, the biggest stories that I had. That I was like, God damn, I can't believe these guys, like, had the audacity to do that. Because, first of all, it's like, those things aren't cheap. It's $1,000. So, over $500 is considered a felony. You're lucky you didn't go to prison for that. So
yeah, people get desperate, man.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like those guys in the van, I don't know how bad they had it, but like if you're a driver, you're not making bad money. So to do that, like really, like come on, man, like that's too much.
Some people just like to steal.
I guess maybe they're kleptomaniacs or they get the.
I know people that say, "You don't need to steal. You have everything," and they're still stealing. It's like it makes no sense. But people are just like that. All right, well, does our audience have any questions over there?
Studio audience.
Student audience.
We're taking questions.
Any questions?
No, not really.
Yeah, what was the name of that guy that took the merchandise?
We can't name names. The names sure meant
Oh,
silent.
that one name out I mentioned.
I know, what is wrong with that?
And I said the wrong name, actually.
I know what you were thinking. I know.
Well, if you said the wrong name, you're good.
Yeah.
But
I mean, all in all, man, like people, like
Put
the
the
beverage industry it has its highs and lows, man. I've had my good times and my bad times. I want to say more good than bad, but the stuff that you learn, the people you meet. I mean, there's some memories you're not gonna ever want to let go of, and like the relationships that you can build, like this right now, like people you meet are so cool. Like let me ask you, like, have you ever just had a day that just like, man, everything went real good today, and it's just the day that you woke up, you weren't expecting anything, not necessarily good or bad to happen, but you were like, man, it's probably one of the best days I've ever had.
Yes, and then it's followed up by, "Damn, this is a terrible day. Everything fucking went wrong.
Really?
What the hell's wrong?" Yeah.
Oh man.
But it's life and it's business. It's like it's ups and downs. So
with the ups and the downs, you gotta take them the same way. You just gotta realize when shit doesn't go right, like, well, it's gonna get better. And when shit's going right, you're like, well, something's gonna go wrong. So I can't get too crazy about this way either way, you know. And it just kind of be optimistic about like overall it's heading in the right direction. So that's the way we look at it.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
All right. Well, we usually end with like a quote of the day. Do you have a particular quote you like,
A quote of the day.
or like a motto or a mantra you live by?
Yeah, there's one that I actually saw recently, but I'm trying. Let me see, I think I might have taken a picture of it.
From the moon to be gone.
Boss Lightyear to the rescue.
So, like I'm a big Benjamin Franklin fan because I'm a history major, but I just saw this the other day. It said, "In wine there is wisdom, in beer there is freedom, in water there's bacteria." It was a quote by Benjamin Franklin, who was a huge alcoholic, by the way. So that one stuck out, and I'm like, oh, we're talking about the beverage industry, and I'm like, oh, that seems like a good one for today. But yeah, that was my one for today.
In water, there's
Bacteria.
bacteria.
Yeah. In wine and wisdom, and beer freedom, and water bacteria. He wasn't wrong, because back then, how could they sanitize water? Like, you drink river water, you probably get sick. And
I
get
guess
dysentery.
especially back then, right?
Yeah, but like beer is fermented, it's treated. Wine is fermented and treated. I mean, you had kids drinking wine because it was safer than drinking water.
That's yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why the Mayflower actually ended up landing early, because their beer casks were empty. Like, we need something to drink, or if not, we're gonna die. So
Yeah,
there's a little bit of history in that.
that's actually really cool.
There you go. That was the quote of the day. Well, thanks for coming in, man.
That was a pleasure, man. That was a good
Man,
time.
we just kind of wanted to catch up, see what you're doing, hear some stories, talk about the industry, because really, when you're in it, and as long as we've been in it, you just understand the industry a lot better.
Yeah.
And we just want to allow people to understand what we're doing and understand the industry, because they need to make better decisions, but they just don't know. So everything that you were doing is super important. You know, the merchandising, the POS, all that stuff. I mean, you know, some of the stuff you're saying, you look at Coca-Cola and you think, man, they're going to have all their shit together, but there's always room for improvement and always room to get better. You know, like what you did with the POS system, you know, financially you probably saved them a lot of money because it's just we're tracking it right. You know, so super important. And obviously, thank you for all your help and service with the military, because none of us would be able to do and have the freedom we have if it wasn't for people like you serving. So thank you for that too.
Cool. Well, thanks, boys, again. It was a great time. It was, you know, hopefully we get a chance to do it again, get some more stuff out there.
Yeah, we're gonna have one of these days like a big panel, and we're just gonna go around talking about some of the crazy stuff that happens out there.
Yeah, because I mean, like when you started saying stories, I was like, some people are gonna get mad if I say this, and some stuff you can't say because they were married at the time, and this happens. Like, you don't want to do that
we
stuff.
don't do none of that stuff. Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
Like, I saw you
That
before I
wasn't-
went to that store. It was
No
like,
way, that
oh.
was Coke people. That was Pepsi people.
Nah. It's everybody, goddammit.
So yeah, we don't want to burn people. Let them burn themselves.
They always do, man. It's crazy how that happens.
So all right, man. Well, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us on Instagram.
Rolling, go.
Thanks, Hiro, for joining us today, man.
Hey,
We
no
appreciate
problem,
it.
man.
Oh, that's a good grip.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, man. I really
Thanks, man.
appreciate
It's a
it,
pleasure.
man.
It's a great time.
Thanks for everything you do for us.
No problem. Hopefully I get to do it again, man.
Yeah,
It's
man. I
awesome.
love, Toy Story 3. You're awesome in it.
I aim to please, man. That's how I
Yeah,
do it.
man. Where's Woody at?
That's all I got room for, man. I'm gonna replace that guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna be my sidekick now.
Yeah, no one likes him though, so be careful.
You gotta get more diversity into Toy Story. That's why I'm doing it.
For sure.
That's hilarious.